Renee Smith.
And I'm Tammy Fellers, and we're education specialists at ESSDACK in Hutchinson, Kansas.
Today we're here to talk about two of our new decks for workstations and small group math time. And these both revolve around the topic of telling time.
And this first deck is called Telling Time. And in the deck, you will notice it's actually one of our larger decks as far as quantity of cards. I believe there are 66 cards in this deck. And we start off just as those Common Core standards do, starting off with the hours and the half hours, then progressing to the quarter hour, and then eventually to every 5 minutes. And so we've asked of our students, what time is it, and for students to be able to record that time. You will also notice in this deck, besides giving the face clock, we give you some digital times and ask that students make this on a Judy clock or a paper clock, however that would be beneficial to you in your classroom.
One of the other things that's apparent in the Common Core standards, around the standards of telling time, is that students need to differentiate between AM and PM.
Yes.
And so we have also included on several of the cards in the deck different real-world activities like morning recess and bedtime and when it's dark outside, so that students have to differentiate between whether that time is an AM time or a PM time. So we're asking students to then model that mathematical practice standard of attention to precision, where they're labeling distinct times of the day. So that's another aspect to this telling time deck.
This first deck of time is really about what time is it, and helping kids start with that at the low end of that progression and progress all the way to the 5 minutes and AM PM. So it goes through that progression for students.
Our second deck in the Telling Time series deals with elapsed time. And so in this particular deck, we're looking at that duration of time and kids being able to tell, if they are given the beginning time and the ending time, how much time has elapsed, or if they're given a beginning time and the elapsed time, what the ending time might be. And so we're dealing with, again, a variety of different cards that give kids that experience of figuring elapsed time in both ways. In this deck, we have, again, gone to the Common Core standards and realized that one of the ways that kids can keep track of elapsed time is through the use of the number line. So some of our cards actually depict beginning times on a number line, ending times on a number line, and having kids actually make those jumps on the number line either by hours or half hours or 15-minute segments, so that they can tell how much time has elapsed from beginning time to ending time. Another way of keeping track is through the use of a chart. And on this, again, we've given a variety of different cards. The first ones in the deck that are on the chart actually fill in the entire progression from beginning to ending time, and kids just have to total up how many hours and how many minutes have elapsed. Then we start to leave out some of the details along the way, giving them enough that they can figure that progression using the chart and come up with that ending time or the elapsed time. One of the things that I can tell you about this particular activity is that using this chart is really, really helpful to children who have difficulty keeping track of elapsed time on their fingers. I tutored a young gentleman once that just could not do this skill until we landed on this chart, and then he literally went back to his own classroom and taught other children how to figure elapsed time using the chart. So those are two ways we teach them initially in the deck to keep track of elapsed time.
And another strategy is to use their fingers and help students know that is a strategy. We've all sat somewhere and tried to figure out how much time that is, and that's certainly another strategy. Kids need multiple opportunities and what works best for them in accuracy. The deck ends with giving a beginning time and an ending time on a clock, and students having to choose their method. They get to choose their way of doing it. Do they want to use a table? Do they want to use a number line? Do they have a strategy that works for them? And here's the activity starting at this time, ending at that time. And then there are also some real world problems or story problems within the deck that says, you know, 2 kids are doing something and it starts at this time and finishes then. So the progression takes them to being able to apply it and using the tool that works best for them.
Just like in all of our other decks, we also include a task sheet. The task sheet not only includes directions, it has the answers to the cards. It also has extension possibilities as well as possible accountability sheets that you can provide to your students so that you can tell when they've been working on their own without your help whether or not they were really accountable for their own learning.
Thank you for checking out our video today. If you have any questions, please follow the site and give us a call. Thank you.